Beloved heart, I invite you to sign up to my mailing list, and as a result of signing up, you will get a free gift. It's a 5D rebalance tune up of all these chakras, and chakras are my specialty. So I would love to gift you with this transmission that is filled with light language and codes to help you stay balanced and tuned up during these increased frequencies of energy of this ascension, this new earth frequency. So check out the links in the notes of this show. And I look forward to connecting with you. I am sending you love. This is the transfiguration of the new you. Hello, beloved hearts. Welcome back to another episode. I have a very special guest here with us, Danniel Cullumber. I think I'm saying that right.
You did. You did it well. Thank you. Yeah, I go by Danniel Worthen Cullumber. So yes,
Awesome.
that's
Well, thank
correct.
you so much for being here. But just for a quick intro, because we're going to be talking about Beyond the Veils, right? All of these phenomena, paranormal stuff. So I'm excited about this conversation with Danielle. And so, just to share a little bit about her, she is MSW, LCSW, is a trauma therapist, intuitive, and founder of Willow Medela Wellness, a holistic private practice based in Utah. With over 20 years of experience in clinical social work, Danielle supports adults navigating complex trauma, grief, and spiritual awakening, including those with intuitive, psychic, or paranormal experiences often dismissed by traditional mental health systems. So, I would love to welcome you to our show. So grateful to have you here, Danielle.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you. And so, if you could just, start off by giving us a little bit of your backstory and maybe sharing some more what you do.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I used to call myself a closeted psychic medium
Mm,
because I had gifts, but I was married to a skeptic for 25 years and made it hard to be my whole self, to be honest with you. But I've always followed mental health, and I got into being a paranormal investigator clear back in 2007. And what I had discovered with working with my investigations, writing papers through college, and talking to clients, there was a lot of gifted people that were having trauma just from their gifts and their paranormal experiences. And people were not listening to them, they were labeling them, misdiagnosing them too, by the way. So I felt it was a needed calling through when I was going into social work to eventually become a therapist, that I wanted to support those gifts like mine. So that also helped me do my internal work as well, because I had to know what I had to offer to come into the plate too, to offer that support. Because I didn't have that normal trauma of yes, I was married to a skeptic, but my trauma wasn't like the ones that were children born open or parents who are navigating gifted kids. And I was able to connect a lot of the resources of mental health to what they're doing spiritually. And the crazy thing was, I was also finding that I was also working for helping the paranormal spirits that were stuck or just being
mm.
around, just that channeling, because while we cross over, we're still the same people. We still have our same hiccups, but we're not so judgmental, depending on if they went past the veil or they are stuck on a certain plane closer to Earth.
Oh, very nice. So you started off as a paranormal investigator. Is that how it all started? I mean, what was your turning point, I guess, that got you into like this whole business? Like,
Well, actually, I used to work in care facilities. I was trained to be a CNA back when I was 19, but I was hearing things when I was a kid.
got you.
But then when I started getting my precog dreams and things were just kind of unfolding, I was like, okay, something's going on. So there was no resources out there for gifted people. And I say gifted because that's a big umbrella term for anyone who is sensitive, paranormal. We all have gifts.
Mm-hmm.
So I started reading books. I went to the library, started reading, and I actually spent years reading before I even became a paranormal investigator. So I was in a recreational therapist
Mm-hmm.
and then shifted into social work. It was a nice
Okay.
umbrella. And I would have paranormal experiences with past clients and
Oh,
spirits in the facilities I was working in. And
interesting.
a lot of them just love to mess with me, like joke with me, because how I looked at it was I treat them with respect. It's like anybody else. If you treat somebody with respect, they're going to kind of reciprocate that. And that's what I was seeing when the paranormal shows were coming out as well, that they were trying to do a lot of dance, monkey dance, like, show me something. I don't know about you. I just get annoyed too, just like anybody else. And if I was them on that side of that veil, I probably not be as nice about it.
Yeah. Oh wow, really interesting. Well, which paranormal shows did you watch? I'm just curious. I watched, some as well.
Oh, well, not to label any of them because, but I started with Ghost Adventures and
Mm-hmm.
Taps, you know. Um, I've been to Goldfield, Nevada myself.
Oh,
Um,
thanks. Yeah.
yeah, Kidder Spirits. I think one of my favorite ones, though, which was a turning point, was when my gift started really turning on,
Mm-hmm.
was when I was pregnant with my two middle kids, my
Yeah.
daughter Alyssa, and then shortly after, pregnant with Brianna afterwards. I was testing my gifts. I was hearing things, and a Chip Coffee brought out a show called Psychic Kids,
Mm-hmm.
and I was watching it, and these kids, and they were telling them, "I'm having this struggle, this struggle," and I was like, "OMG, that's me." I was in my 30s and 20s learning about my gifts through this show. And they had a parapsychologist and a psychologist. So when I went to get my degree in my bachelor's in social work, I literally looked up to find out if I could get a degree in parapsychology. Not available here in Utah. It's not. It's
I
like,
didn't even know there
so,
was a degree on that in the first
well,
place.
I thought there was, but apparently, because now I'm actually a doctorate student for
Yeah.
social work at Simmons University. And because I will have a doctorate in social work, I literally can write that curriculum if I wanted to. I literally been told that.
Yeah. Oh,
So
well, yeah, you could start your own school in that. That would be awesome.
it's kind of crazy how this is all formed, but yeah, it was just learning through other people's experiences and the observation
Mm-hmm.
and and learning that communication was the key because even here in Utah, we're in a bubble. I'll be honest with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Either people are going to be open or they're just going to be completely shut, just like anywhere else.
Yeah, I hear you. Uh,
So,
yeah. Go ahead. Any more?
when I was in my bachelor's degree, one of my first classes, I learned about trauma and child welfare.
Uh-huh.
I told them that I wanted to be a social worker working with the paranormal. And my professor laughed and she goes, "If you stay in this long enough, you'll see plenty of it." I go, "Sounds good." And I was still closeted. I wasn't even telling people I was doing paranormal investigations, but
I got
they, yeah, and they started finding out that I did ghost investigations. And the next thing I know was people knew who I was without my name.
you.
So it was kind of like I was very shy. I still had that stigma. I was in the closet with my gifts and then found out that I was actually a very strong psychic medium, more so than I could have. And then years later, I did my own trauma work, finding a groups here out in Utah with other gifted people because I lost four people in my family in a matter of 9 months. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I was in the middle of my master's program, and they were telling us do self-care. And I was like, what the hell is that? Because I had lost colleagues after getting my bachelor's degree, and I was just a SSW. That's my license back then.
Yeah.
And I was hearing them talk to me, but I was like, how do I link this side to this side to help that healing better? And so I started going to cacao ceremonies and
Hmm.
sound baths and breath work. Now I studied breath work for years, and I was like going, this was good because then I created my own, use it as, I call it a template of coping skills where I call mask or hidden coping skills. Somebody called it masquerading coping skills because you can use the coping skills in front of people and they don't
Mm-hmm.
know you're using it. But but we're just tuning into our body and letting it do its natural regulating while using some basic stuff that's out there. I just learned how to explain it in a way that complicated it for our brains so we could buy into it. But I found that people were coming more that had gifts because the vibrations is linking. I didn't even have to advertise for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really about the energy and the vibration, right? We're meant to, I guess, be in that alignment through our soul. That's the way I see it. Um, it's like interesting because like so many people, like something you said that so many people right now are like have been, I would say, in a closet hiding their intuition or their psychic ability or mediumship, or they just don't really care to like talk about it. But I'm sure that there's some listening who probably are feeling that, kind of afraid to come out. But I'm curious about something you kind of touched on it, but maybe you could elaborate a little more. It's like, what is it like, reconciling your professional, like that work that professional area as a licensed therapist with your intuitive mediumship gifts?
Well, it's very interesting because uh, it kind of falls still under that social work umbrella that I have to do with my licensures with Doppel. Those are the ones that regulate the licensures. But what I found is as long as I'm doing things correctly with my notes and I'm treating the diagnosis within my license in the state of Utah, I can do that because I'm not advertising it just like that. But this
Mm-hmm.
is the first time I'm actually saying holistic. We're offering more services and they get a choice. It's about the client, not
Mm-hmm.
about me. It's about their journey, their healing. And if that is part of their inclusive package of what they need, I am more supportive because trauma is trauma. An incident doesn't mean you have PTSD, but we all experience a form of trauma
Mm-hmm.
and we want to heal and move forward, but sometimes we just need that support. And the one thing that we find with trauma is that sense of lost control and feeling stuck. And the one thing I tell my clients is the one thing I will never do is I'll never ever tell you what to do. I will always ask. And it's
Mm-hmm.
that permission slip because that's also giving yourself that permission slip to do that healing. And that's also with connecting with yourself with your gifts because many of the ones that hide their gifts are fighting themselves more, just
Mm-hmm.
like me, because we're out of alignment. When people start helping me heal, they're like, wow, your chakras are all over the place. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
because how would I know otherwise? There was
Mm-hmm.
no one teaching me, no one was supporting me. And
Mm-hmm.
in the evolution of it, I can say I can do life coaching
Mm-hmm.
for any clients outside the state of Utah
Mm-hmm.
or internationally, because then I can do more holistic energy work with them too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
And
So
that's how I
this
can bridge it.
Yeah, okay, awesome. Yeah, so that's a key word is the alignment. And so basically what you're saying is doesn't matter, what titles you may hold in the industry, right? It's really about
Right.
how you blend it and realign it with your own soul, which to me is like the authenticity part of it, because as you said, we all have these gifts inside our intuition, and our other like abilities within. So it's just a matter of like pretty much trust. But what would you say to someone who's really just like still wanting to like stay in that closet and they're like really afraid, to like expose themselves, of these psychic abilities, but they want to do something or make a difference?
Start with what they're feeling attuned to work with first. Baby steps end up being bigger steps.
Mm-hmm.
I when I first started, I really actually thought I just had an overactive imagination, and I was like more correct than wrong most times. And of course, the precog dreams that kept coming true. So I started doing basic things. Well, I'm like going, let's try to see if I can protect what's going to be the next playing card.
Mm-hmm.
And found out while reading a book that I was holding one of those metal bookmarks. And when I would read about it, it would pendulum swing. I didn't know that there was a thing for pendulums back then.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about scrying tools except tarot card readings. And now that dates you. This we're looking clear back in 2020, 2002.
Mm,
And I think it was when I had that dream that came true about the Pentagon being on fire after
yeah.
9/11.
Right.
I was like going, okay, I gotta do something with this.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't hide that. So with somebody coming still in the closet, they need to learn not about coming out of the closet, but what parts of them that align for them. Like, do they feel more auditory? Are they more empathic? What do they need to feel more in their skin?
Mm,
Because yeah, we're having a human experience, but even if we don't feel like we belong here, we agree to be here for an experience for that. But we don't have to make it complicated. We have being a human is complicated enough, but being extra sensitive to that and not feeling like we're supposed to be here,
mm-hmm.
how we can get ourselves to communicate with our higher self and let that energy more flow, that is part of that healing. Because once they're more stable in themselves, coming out of the closet isn't about coming out of the closet. It is actually them stepping out and saying, this is me.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Um, how did your ancestors' lineage or personal stories influence your path towards storytelling and ancestral healing?
Oh my gosh. So my first my aunt had passed away by suicide in
Mm-hmm.
December of 98, and I had just had my first child. And this was my favorite aunt. And this woman, even when she was on the side, the veil, would always challenge me about things because she was the I'm going to say the black sheep of the family. My mom always thought she herself was, but my aunt was my hero. And when she passed away, she came to me the morning after her funeral, which was New Year's Eve. So that was New Year's morning of 2000, not 2019, 99. And I had an opportunity that nobody else usually gets. I actually got to ask the why. I mean, most people go, why does somebody, when they take their life, they ask why? And her answer was just so hum mesmerizing and humbling. And she said, Danielle, I don't know why then, and I don't know why now. But I knew her struggles with mental health. And
Mm-hmm.
later, I, we've her and my cousin, her daughter, and I figured out she was struggling with bipolar with, on top of a lot of child abuse, molestation, sexual assault, drug
Mm-hmm.
use. So it just kind of compounded. And the situation where she was when she passed away, she hadn't eaten in 2 days and was drunk. Like there's all these variables, but when you broke it down to it, her soul came to me and actually gave me the opportunity to speak with her. She chose that.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, I've had many family members come talk to me. And and ironically, the day that we're recording this, tomorrow is the 1 year anniversary of my father passing. But a year ago today, my father came to me in a dream and had a long conversation with me. And because he was about to transition, and this is before he had died, and he didn't even realize how gifted I was. He knew I was special, but he had a lot of awareness that he brought to me about this next coming year. And last year when he was sick and we knew he was transitioning, it was a beautiful process for me. And since then, I had just started my doctorate program. I'm in the middle of my doctorate program. I started my practice. Um, I am communicating about gifts to people. I mean, what a year has changed just in the conversation with some of my family members. I would say every time somebody had passed away, there was a soul contract. And every time somebody died, I got more information that I wouldn't have had access to unless they had willing to transition like they did.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So it almost sounds like, the transition served like a bridge into these other like ancestral connection.
Oh, absolutely. One What's amazing is that my husband, I met him on the first day of my healing process at one of the holistic groups, and he's also a psychic medium, and
Okay.
he's indigenous and on his father's side, and European on his mother's side, and he talks both of them, and he's how to always bridge the communication between those different parts. And what I love is learning from his lens and being part of that family dynamic. I get access to his family line as well. Besides my own kids, is even though I'm not with their father anymore, I still have access to all that family knowledge too, because the family still talks to me. We're all family
Yeah,
together. So, it's not limited to just bloodlines, but also who culturally you've connected with and who've adopted you.
like
Uh,
families too.
exactly, like um, the Polynesian community. Oh my gosh, the spirituality within them, the Latino community.
Hmm.
Um, I have a my goddaughter.
Yeah.
I get access to all her family,
Hmm.
and what's amazing is the more people I meet, the more gifted we find out that we are collectively.
Yes. I mean, that's a really good point. We're all interconnected one way or another, especially like when you get into like family dynamics and stuff and you start to blend ancestral lineage. And for me, I even extended even further into like the star family, a lot of the galactic
Exactly.
roots.
I'll be honest, if I hadn't met my husband, I
Hmm.
wouldn't have access to the information that I have now because he was able to he was born open, starseed child.
Hmm.
He talks to the other the Larens, the aliens and all those. And it was only through him that I find out my missing parts, and was able to gave me access to the downloads that
Hmm.
I was missing.
Yeah, nice.
So anytime you meet somebody along the way, you never know what gifts they're offering you in those keys.
Hmm.
And that's what happened, what I was finding whenever I met somebody with a gift, I would tune in and then realize, wait a minute, I could do that too. Or
Yeah,
whoa, I didn't see it that way because I could access what they're saying or vibrating. And so that makes it wonderful as a clinician, a therapist, a healer. I'm going to say healer because that's going to do the whole encompassing of
yeah,
everything. Um,
that's cool.
yeah, when you ask permission, if they want that support and you're able to do it, as long as you are not leaving negative ties in them and cords, and and also not taking on their stuff and not give them the accountability, the autonomy, you actually both grow together. It's reciprocity. The energies exchanged keep growing, and we
Mm,
attune brighter, louder, and shinier.
yeah, exactly. That is, so cool. I was actually getting the lyrics before you said it. So what information have you gotten from them? I'm just curious. Anything that could be shared?
Oh, I'm not very in depth with it, but the Larens, it's both my husband and I are like cat people. We have 8 cats between us.
Yeah.
And the Larens in how they communicate fascinate me because I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like you're learning your personality type through a different with them and how they show up and their strength and their communication, but also how they interact with other species or intergalactic um, vibrations.
Yeah.
Because for me, my husband can actually talk to that better, but for me, it's more the energy I can access.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you know how somebody has that's braille can learn to read with their fingers. Me, I feel things almost like a cobweb or energy, and I can almost feel it tangibly in my hand. And then
Mm-hmm.
it creates a picture, so I can move things like just me doing this. I'm
Mm-hmm.
moving things
Yeah.
consistently, so I have to be careful sometimes because I've opened portals and vortexes,
Yeah.
and I've had to learn to shut them down because I'll pull things in, I'll remove things, and but I'm doing a lot of stuff in the undercurrent that I'm consciously not aware of in the in this waking hour. I'm actually more traveling when I'm sleeping. So the Laren part is I find that I travel in different planes a lot. I've met a lot of interesting now this is a observation. Interesting individuals or beings, and they look at me like, what, who are you, and are you a threat? Like, I'm like, no, I'm just observing where I don't even know how I got here, as long,
What
but
is
I
this
have a
human
tether
doing
here.
here, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I do not really have a lot of information on the Laren to offer you than other that
Mhm.
I know I have references, some references to that in the energies.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Cool. I mean, that's really cool that having that connection to our star family. Wondering like from a trauma perspective, right? Many trauma survivors, experience things that aren't always explainable in the clinical world. So
yeah.
visions, sensations, encounters, how do you create like a safety for clients to share those without fear or being dismissed or feeling like they're being prosecuted? Unlock your limitless potential with the monthly multiversal circle of creation. This sacred quantum manifestation ritual will awaken your inner power and connect you to the successful versions of yourself across the multiverse. Clear blocks, amplify your creative energy, and set powerful intentions for abundance, love, and possibilities. Activate your galactic aspects, recalibrate your nervous system, and manifest your dreams with cosmic clarity. Available in person and via Zoom. Join us for this transformative experience today.
Yeah. Well, first of all, usually when you ever notice that when you meet somebody, you can feel kind of a unique alignment with them.
Well,
Usually they've been, so sometimes, sorry, things glitch sometimes with my energies when I'm talking,
mm,
when I get high. You ever notice that familiarity when you meet somebody, or
mhm,
that's like they kind of show up when they're supposed to? I have clients that have been energetically asking for it, and it will come up naturally. I'll wait for them to bring up a key something, and I
mhm,
will actually be able to talk to them about it. Like I'll reframe back to it. And even if they had a previous diagnosis, I always start from where I see them. I'm not going to judge them from anything, because to me, a diagnosis is just a description of a symptom you're having. Does not
mhm.
mean that's exactly you. It's kind of like somebody has a cold. It turns out it can be something else, even though it should looks like a cold.
Yeah, yeah.
So, so with them, when I breach it, it's usually they're gonna feel safe in the energy that I'm providing, and that gives them that autonomy. And but goes back to where said that the one thing I tell all my clients when I first meet them is, I will never tell you what to do. I will always ask.
Mhm,
Never try to explain it to me to convince me. Just tell me how you see it in your lens. And if I have a
mhm.
question, I can always ask. So the one thing they do not know about my gifts, which I'm going to share honestly, is
Yeah.
if they are gifted and they're seeing stuff, I'm going to see it with them. But if they have a diagnosis, I'm going to use like schizophrenia, because we all know the label of that. If
Yeah.
somebody is both gifted and schizophrenic, which I have worked with, I can see what they're seeing. That's paranormal. But if it is their
Their mind
illness,
matrix.
it might just, I can't. However, I can feel if there's something not regulated right in the body, things like that. I can do that, but I'm not a doctor, medical doctor. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Mhm,
But I'm going to ask the questions, and we're going to find out there's more tied to it. They're like, I'm not sleeping. Why aren't you sleeping? Well, I'm having nightmares. I'm having nightmares. Why? Well, it's not that I'm having nightmares. They keep seeing the same vision over and over again. I'm like, okay, let's talk about the dream. And I will simplify it to make it safe for them. And then we'll build on those stepping stones. Because
mhm,
I don't know if they're open to hearing it yet, but they're going to feel open enough to tell me what they're experiencing to see if I can at least meet them where they're at. I will hold that space of safety for them to at least have the voice, even if they don't believe what they're experiencing or seeing
mhm.
in that situation.
That's pretty good ability to be able to see that, wisdom, and be able to figure out like which fine line, to go, which route. Um,
Oh, There's been times where I've had their family members poking at me and causing a havoc behind me, and I'd be like, "You guys gotta stop. I'm trying to actually help here. You're not. I don't think know if you're really supposed to be here. Come on."
Are they over there like telling you, tell them, this message for us, and do they ever
It's,
do that like with when you're with your
it,
clients?
it, it depends on the individual, because usually I created a energy field, a bubble where we're protected, so we don't have I call them Looky Loo spirits, where they come in, peek
Yeah.
in it. Yeah, I try to create a environment where they're feeling safe within that energy field.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm hearing it, it's usually about something else, or they had actually been looking for someone to get that communication from them, and
Mm-hmm.
that's when they start bugging me. And by that time, usually if that's happened, we've already had that discussion that I'm open or something like I believe that they're empaths or something like that, like as it could be. I
Mm-hmm.
never will diagnose them or label them any of those things. That is their story. That is their narrative.
Mm-hmm.
But there's times that their family members will give me exactly something to bring out, and then all of a sudden it just
Interesting.
everything, something will switch the switch in them, and they actually get to have that voice, that side of them that they've been protecting in their process.
Nice. So you're almost like it's like a therapist medium. You're heard of the medical medium, uh, Anthony
Yes, I
Williams.
have. Yeah.
So, anyways, you just reminded me of a therapist medium in a way.
Well, in a way, I am, but I
Mhm.
cannot. It's not one of those things I can advertise like out there unless I have like some credibility, kind of thing. Like we know the
What
Hollywood
is
medium,
it?
but they're going there for a certain reason.
Mhm.
Well, I want it to be available to anybody
Mhm.
who feel they have gifts versus not. That's why I call myself a holistic trauma
Got
therapist.
you. Yeah.
But my best friends call me the metaphysical social worker because I'm working in the metaphysical world,
Nice. Yeah.
balancing it.
Which is rare to find, these days. So it's something that I feel is more needed, and maybe in the future it's going to be more of that. You know, as things are really opening up more, people are starting
Yeah.
to wake up a little more consciously, I would say.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the things I had been tuning into was when I say spirit, that could be anything where the information comes. So when I say spirit, I'm not pigeonholing anything. So when spirits kind of nudges me, I remember when I was in a bath, just kind of just doing my meditation, and they said, "Your doctor." I'm like, "No, do it." Okay. And I start texting, and the first school that pops up is Simmons University. Simmons University is the oldest social work college out there, but it was also the first women's college connected to Harvard. I'm
Mhm.
like, you want me to apply to an elite school? Are you serious? Because they didn't have a doctorate in social work, they had a PhD. And I
Yeah.
did not want to do academia. I didn't want to do just research. I
Hmm.
wanted to do also the clinical part. Well, it became available. I just had to wait for the alignment. And I got in, and I'm halfway through that process. And because
Okay.
I'm doing the doctorate, I have now started having that voice with other mental health people and the social works, my colleagues,
Hmm.
by making the conversation easier for. So we love Harry Potter. We say the muggles and stuff. We let the muggles be able to be more open.
My favorite movie reference, yes. I love that. So fitting. So from your experience, how can intuition serve as both a compass and a balm for those navigating these like complex traumas?
So when you say bulb, it's almost like that salve you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, first thing is with trauma is knowing that it's not your fault. It was outside your control. Okay. We had that internal dialogue that we're to blame
Mm-hmm.
for what happened, or the choice that led us down that to that moment. That wasn't it. However, you may have assigned to it. before you came down here for the life lessons around it. So how to be able to reframe that thinking is both that, because when you get to reframe that thinking, that also helps our energy, which helps our intuition.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, I may be gifted, but I'm also a trauma survivor. I'm a victim of a crime. Um, when 2019 happened, my brother died of suicide. What was one of the four family members. So a year later, on the anniversary, and I had talked to my brother. I'm fine. I knew it was kind of like a car accident. It was just one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I couldn't be, I wasn't mad at him. It's just part of
Mm-hmm.
those things. But I kept doing some self-care, doing a flexology place, and I kept getting that a ping. I call it the ping, where you can get a sonar thing, but it doesn't tell you what it is. You know something's coming, but you can't tell it good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
And on the anniversary of my brother's passing, I went to get a massage, and I was sexually assaulted. And I had to use my gifts to keep me safe and also know what to do. And I was still traumatized. I had just graduated with my master's. I was about to be a therapist, and I was going to be a therapist to pay clients that had trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm just got through a trauma experience. So all I knew was I kept hearing from my spirits, especially my grandmother had passed away. It goes, "We got you. Go to sleep. We got this taken care of." Well, what I later found out was I had, not that I wanted the trauma, but I was one of the few people that could stop what happened because I'd been picking up something and I kept tuning into it. And what happened was I was one of four people that had been victimized by this individual during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And three of us were able to send the person to prison for what he did. And so stop that bad cycle, that horrible cycle, not bad cycle,
Mm-hmm.
horrible cycle.
Yeah.
And I also filed a class action lawsuit to hold other people accountable for not checking on that he wasn't a licensed massage therapist at all these
Wow.
things. So all this intuition came in. My court case went up to the Utah Supreme Court just to have it thrown out. Went through. It was a long process. And every time I was like tune in, I was like, what's going on with this thing? Spirit's like, we got it. This is not your concern. You take care of this stuff. It's like, okay. So one of the things about learning about trusting is you're still a human. You're going to still have those human responses of, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? But part of the salve is knowing that even though you get burned, there's something to help take the edge off.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Wow. Interesting. Um,
I know that was a lot right there. Sorry.
yeah, so I mean that brings me up topic right about mental health where you're saying like how do we keep ourselves balanced, just say in our mental well-being and health because I feel like these days though there's just so much trauma that's resurfacing but also being shown as well and a lot of chaos, right? And it's a bit overwhelming. So I feel like there's too much information being thrown around. So what is one thing that maybe that you tell, some of your clients and how to keep your mental well-being, especially those who are, empathetic and are sensitive like you and I are, um, since, we're here with the listeners listening because we can give them some kind of advice or something.
Yeah, it's the simplest thing is you remember how I mentioned the self-care part.
Mm-hmm.
Find out what your self-care is. And the one thing I do differently than most clinicians is I talk about maintenance. So the maintenance of self-care, because we only want to use a coping skill or get help when we don't feel good. But the problem is we have the tools, but we forget how to use them because this is where the medical knowledge comes in, where we're pulled out of the executive function and pulled into our fight, flight, or freeze. We call it the reptile brain. We're just on autopilot, the
Mm-hmm.
response of it. And our nervous system gets saturated. And one thing I've known with gifts is the more you're disaligned, and regulated, you're not going to get the truest message. And you're
Mm-hmm.
still going to be pulsating on meeting that a huge emotional need. So if you can go back to keeping it basic, do your self-care, even if it's just try to make sure you go to bed at a certain routine, making sure you have enough water, or at least get that walk in, ground yourself, sit with Chris. Whatever you do you, boo.
Mm-hmm.
But keep it the maintenance because like we're coming up on the many holiday seasons. A lot of people get dysregulated.
Yeah,
I
it's even worse in
I
the holidays. Yeah.
yes. Well, I also find that the spirit side gets very active. And tomorrow with all the things happening,
Well, like
we're already yes,
Halloween and this, yeah, Day of the Dead, like these other cultures and all that. So,
yes, it gets very active
hmm
and and you're feeling it. Go back to the basic. Make sure you're meeting
yeah.
your basic needs. Making, yes, you're going to eat rich foods, but know that your body's not going to align to the things. It's okay to have traditions. Feel into what aligns for you, but also have a backup to recover from it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, Before the recording, I mentioned to you that I went on a paranormal investigation yesterday. It
Mm-hmm.
was a very light one, but because I'm so sensitive and I was scanning a lot of energies, my body still has to detox from any energy that may have tried to take from me or
Mm-hmm.
tried to share with me. My
Yeah.
body doesn't need what is not mine. And only once, and also asking your energy selves, because we outsource, we do this naturally. Empaths do this all the time. They don't mean to. Um, Ask for your energy come back, but with positive. Fill ourselves back up because we give so many of our pieces out.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that maintenance, do a mantra, do the singing bowls, take your hot bath, salt, Epsom salt, whatever. But make sure you're doing it not because you feel you have to, but because you want to.
Yes, exactly. So, where did you do your paranormal investigation? Was it a historical house, a historical place?
Actually, it was funny because I went on investigation. It was a former colleague of mine. She'd known a couple years back that I did paranormal investigations. She reached out with me, and her fiance happened to be in administration at a elementary school here in Salt Lake, and it's a very old school. And because of safety, uh, that's one of the things I talk about is we have to be respectful to property and things like that. And he just happened to say, I have access to this very old school. And because we're with them and we know who would be there, we're like, okay, let's go check it out. We didn't have to disrupt anything. We were legally there. Um, and yeah, it was historical. And we ended up getting our best evidence on the old part of the school from the original school where how to explain this, the newer school was built in 1976 and it still had energy, but the original school was built in 1898
Oh,
and it's
wow.
now the playground, and it was
Mm,
not even the old spirits that we were picking up. We were actually picking up because uh a drug overdose and a fight that went bad, and that's who came through the pod. So it was like, oh, and so you have different layers. So it's
yeah.
for me, it's fun because I love the history. I get the intuition of what to ask, so we can
Mm-hmm.
get the evidence. That's the fun part is when you connect, and then you're like, okay, we're going to respect you. We're going to go. Thank you for your time. We're not going to bug you to move on as long as you're not hurting yourself or others. That's what I tell other people too as well. You do you, boo. And not to be punny with the boo with the ghost.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
I got you. I was thinking of the ghost, the boo.
yeah, I was like, oh, I should clarify on that one.
Right, I got it, but I understand there's a boo that is said as well. But what do you see as a deeper purpose of paranormal or spiritual experiences in the healing journey?
Oh, Monica, it's about being able to have a voice to the sacred of it all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, part of the problem with mental health, and I'm not trying to bash on mental health, but the medical model in itself is they want to make it black and white. There's all these gray areas. and being able to have that part, an authentic part of themselves. If you uh, talk to your Viking ancestors, to your voodoo hoodoo parts of you, because a lot of us are not just one line, we're multiple flavors of different people from our
Yeah,
lineages.
right.
Make it authentic to your spirituality. Find out what resonates with yourself, and that actually helps your mental health, because then you're not fighting that narrative that you are broken, you're not enough, no one can understand you or handle you. The truth is, those are the narratives you're telling yourself, that's how you see yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to bridge that gap in the paranormal is saying, hey, these things I'm experiencing, these things are real. These things are real to me. So that's my narrative. That's my story. I'm not going to dismiss it. That's empowerment,
Mm-hmm.
and that's healing. And
Wow.
that brings you into your own strength.
Yeah. Well said.
Thank you.
So, I'm curious about something. Do you feel like the veils are getting thinner? And if so, like how can
Yeah.
that, be like a big healing for the collective, or how can people use that to their benefit, in other words?
Well, one of the things, not just the feeling, is the observation. We're
Mm-hmm.
finding more people are falling away from the mainstream religion stereotypes, okay, and the dogmas.
Mm-hmm.
We still have attachments to those.
Mm-hmm.
And we tend to go to the extremes when we're running away from something that we're not aligned to.
Mm-hmm.
Don't shame those parts,
Mm-hmm.
because those were some foundations, even if they're not authentic or real use anymore. We
Mm-hmm.
still have a way to rewrite that narrative. In fact, a lot of it can be ancestral healing too, because you you are in this time of that veil getting thinner, because our ancestors get to learn through us from our experiences, from their stepping stones that they've gave us.
Mm-hmm.
And with the veil, so if you're wanting to do more self-healing and reflecting, you can still do it quietly or you can do it loud, whatever you need.
Mm-hmm.
But remember that the more centered you are, you're going to get more information.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, just sipping that quiet cup of tea can be more attunement than a whole drum circle with men. Now, the drum circle men are great. I'm just doing that comparison. It's whatever you need,
Mm-hmm.
but don't abuse it. Do not take it to the extreme, because things can, even spirituality, holistic healing, anything can become its own addiction. We have behaviors. Behaviors become its own addiction. I mean, people, I'm going to use that example. Some of us like mandalas. I actually have a notebook full of mandalas I color,
Mm-hmm.
but I could spend too much time on this and not actually hear what's being said to me, because when I got to finish this, because whatever, my ADHD took over or something.
Yeah, well, that's the fine line of fanatic, was it like fanatic, uh,
Mm-hmm. So with the veil getting thinner, you're going to get more information, and you're going to feel more. I'm going to use the proverbial quote marks, feel a little crazy and off. Check in with yourself. Find out what's yours versus not.
Mm-hmm.
But with the collectively, to go back to the collective, is knowing that a lot of the collective is going to go off balance, because they're now tuning into things that they're like, wait, I'm hearing stuff that I'm not supposed to be hearing. And they go back to those dogma stereotypes of
Yeah.
labels. So
Yeah.
having compassion for that, going, okay,
Mm-hmm.
start writing down some stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
you might actually align to the answer that you're asking.
Yeah.
So collectively, once you get information though, this is something I need to let everyone know. Once you get information, you can't go back and undo it. You
Yeah.
ask a question,
Mm-hmm.
expect the answer, even if you don't like the answer.
Right. I mean, those are really great points. Sometimes we get so attached to old beliefs, right? And part of those beliefs are tied into certain dogmas, that some have experienced through life, growing up. and dogmas being, different religions or like organization, and get so focused on that we ignore the messages being received. And
Mhm.
so it's about really letting go and allowing to be a receptive vessel, of information. Yeah.
Yeah. And here's the other thing too is I'm not saying that people are going to leave their belief systems.
Mm-hmm.
We're just allowing a different leveling up in that attunement of that lens of that belief system, or aligning to what they feel they need. I Some of the most spiritual people are people that actually decided they couldn't fit into their
Mm-hmm.
religion. They love their community. That was
Mm-hmm.
their people.
Right.
That's their history.
Yeah.
But they're like, I know too much and I can't go back. And I go, that's okay. You just take what you want and leave the rest.
Yeah.
Because it's all about you and what fits this being experience that you are going through. Because it's you that's going to take it with you when you
Right.
transcend
Yeah.
to
So
whatever next journey.
yeah, the way I see it is more like a perception shift also.
Oh yeah, paradigm shift completely.
Yeah, so we're getting close here to wrapping it up, but I wanted to first of all mention to the listeners that all of Danielle's contact information can be found in the episode notes if you want to reach out to her. But before we conclude, I would love to hear some final thoughts from you, Danielle, and if you have any message that wants to come through from spirit, channel message,
Yeah.
we're open to it.
It seems like I have a peanut gallery kind of trying to decide who's going to be the voice box to me right now. Give me a sec. If you let your listeners know that if you allow and allow the simplicity, we start weaving our consciousness together, and that's how the collective actually gets to be stronger in the new earth, the new vibrations. And the now is just that blink from yesterday.
Hmm.
Time, we all know that time is irrelevant, but time is just a construct that we need to understand that things have a vibration that has to do with think first for things to manifest as
Hmm.
well. The ones that are deceased, their families always talking to you. So if you want to know that they're listening, ask them to leave you a penny or a feather, something simple just for you guys. It could be a song, it could be a smell. They want to communicate, but you guys are complicating it. You're overthinking it. So they're like, please simplify it. Okay. Thank you for your time, and I want to thank spirits for the information for anyone that needed to hear that.
Thank you so much for that, sharing that information with us, and also for being a podcast guest for this. I'm sure that I could have gone through like so many different questions and gone through different, ways. But maybe we'll have you back, for another like round two or something.
That'd be fun. That'd be
of,
great. Thank
of
you.
conversation, different topics. This was very valuable, very helpful. And I really hope that it was for the listeners as well. So I want to thank the listeners as well for being here and listening to this. Would love to hear feedback as well, from these messages. So thank you so
Yes.
much, Danielle.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to click like, save, and share with others so they can also experience what you just experienced. And stay tuned for some more high vibe episodes. And I'll be connecting with you in the next quantum field. Sending you so much love.